Welcome back to Cash and Sass, the podcast where we ditch the shame, talk real numbers, and build bold, bankable wealth without sacrificing who we are. I'm your host, Lisa Marie, fractional CFO, money mentor, and the sassy wealth queen behind Transcendent Wealth Co. If you're ready to scale with strategy, own your power, and finally feel wealthy in every sense of the word, then you're in the right place. In this episode, we're going to be talking about where your money is quietly leaking and why most creators, business owners, and entrepreneurs don't see it until they're way past being frustrated. So, without further ado, let's dive in. When people hear money leak, they assume something dramatic: overspending, bad investments, reckless decisions. But I have news for you. That's what I don't see that. It's what I rarely see. What I see is most profit leaks are very subtle. They don't scream, they whisper. And that's exactly why they stick around. That's why they're tiny leak, or they're big leaks, but they're leaking, right? A profit leak isn't necessarily about spending too much. It's about spending without current alignment. What that means is you're spending without making sure it's in alignment. It's about money continuing to go somewhere long after the reason it started going there had expired. And that's a big distinction. Most leaks don't begin as mistakes. They begin as smart decisions. You invested in software because you needed it. You hired support because growth required it, and it's going to save you time. You subscribed to tools because they solved a problem. But here's the thing: businesses evolve, needs change, priorities shift, margins tighten, and goals adjust, right? So if spending doesn't evolve with those shifts, it becomes a leak. There are three main reasons leaks stay invisible. First, familiarity. When something hits your account every month, your brain stops questioning it. It becomes normal. So you don't think twice about it. Oh, yeah, that's the $29.99 subscription. Got it. That came out last month. It's been coming out last 6 months. Okay, next. You don't question it. Second reason is justification. Oh, it only costs $97. It's a business expense and I might use it again. How many of us have actually said that? I know I have. I'll be the first to admit it. Third reason is growth masking. When revenue increases, small inefficiencies don't really hurt immediately. So they go unchecked. Until one day you think, I'm making more, but why doesn't it feel like it? That's the leak catching up. Let me give you something practical, an example, okay? A client once came to me frustrated because her revenue had grown by almost 40% year over year, but her take-home pay hadn't changed much. She assumed the issue was taxes or maybe inconsistent income, meaning the cash flow, or a part of the cash flow with the income coming in. When we looked closer, here's what we found. Old contractors still on retainer who weren't fully utilized. Multiple overlapping software subscriptions doing similar things. Marketing spend that hadn't been reevaluated since her earlier growth stage. Now, one of the things I need you to understand is none of this is reckless. None of it was reckless. None of it was irresponsible. But collectively, it was quietly draining tens of thousands of dollars per year. She didn't need to make more money. She needed to realign existing money. And that's where I want you to understand the difference. because that's a key. That's a key difference. She didn't need to make more money. She needed to realign existing money. Here's the thing. Here's what's rarely talked about. Leaks don't just drain your profit. They drain trust. When you don't know where money is slipping, you feel cautious, you hesitate to invest, you tighten spending in areas that actually matter, you hold back from growth moves, not because you lack ambition, because your system doesn't feel clean. And a messy system creates internal friction. A lot of people will look for leaks by asking, where am I overspending? The problem is that question is incomplete. Instead, ask, if I were rebuilding my business today, would I choose this expense again? Or, and that question changes everything. And here's the other question you can ask. Am I still using this software? Looking at that, am I using this software and this software, or is this software and this software overlap? And does it make sense to merge the two? Meaning use one. Because here's the thing. The reason why that first question changes everything is because it removes habit from the equation. Doesn't matter if it happens over and over again, right? And when you're asking yourself, would I use it? Am I using this still? And the answer is no. It forces intentionality. It pulls you into leadership. It goes, hey, wait a minute. I'm paying for this and paying for this. No, I don't want to do this. Another example is I had a separate software for my website, or had a website, right? Using a software for website. I had a separate software for my email. And then I was going to have another one for tracking leads and customers, etc. And the issue is the people that I was having as my team at the time, there was no communication like I thought. So instead, I pulled back in, went back to a core team, had a new person come in, part of the core team, and we now meet weekly and we look and we say, where does it make sense? Does it make sense to still be using this task management software? I don't want to use two. So what makes sense? Does it make sense to have a separate email system, or does it make better sense to have my website, my email system, and all my tracking be in one? Over time, I'm going to save money because we're cutting out some of the things. We're not going to be spending money on a form software when I can use a different one that's free. We're not going to have to spend as much money on an email software because we're combining it. It's analyzing and being intentional because, again, growth changes, things change, and it's saying, okay, how can I build intentionally with stability, long-term growth, and know what's going on with my money, right? After this episode, I want you to do something really simple. Don't analyze your entire financial picture. I just want you to look at your reoccurring expenses, not one-time purchases, recurring. Subscriptions, retainers, monthly services, those things that recur every single month. And ask, does this solve a current problem? Is it generating value equal to or greater than its cost? And then the last question, if I had to justify this out loud today, could I? Now, I want you to understand something. You don't have to cancel anything immediately. That's not what I'm telling you to do. I just want you to observe. Ask those three questions. And again, those three questions are, does this solve a current problem? Is it generating value equal to or greater than its cost? And 3, if I had to justify this out loud today, could I? And just observe your answers. Because here's the key. Those leaks will start shrinking when awareness grows. And you get awareness by asking those questions, looking at those subscriptions, looking at those expenses, and asking those 3 questions. And that's how I was able to determine what changes I was going to start making in those. And I didn't make them all at once. We're still making some. We're doing it one at a time. Okay, the bigger your business gets, the more complex your expense structure becomes. It can be a lot more tools, more people, more layers. Here's the thing though. If you don't revisit alignment regularly, the growth will amplify inefficiency. And I am just as guilty. And I recommend to my clients that you look at it every 90 days at least. And I'm going back to me making sure I look at mine every 90 days. Because inefficiency will erode your margin. And margin is what creates stability, flexibility, calm. It also creates long-term wealth, not just revenue. And y'all, that's everything. Most entrepreneurs will chase growth when they feel financial pressure. But so often pressure isn't a revenue problem. It's an alignment problem. And more sales will not fix misaligned spending. You will just keep spending. More hustle won't correct unexamined habits. Leadership will. And you have to have the knowledge and you have to have the awareness in order to have it. This episode isn't about cutting everything. It's about cleaning. When money is aligned with your current priorities, it will feel lighter. When money flows intentionally, it builds trust. And trust is what allows you to scale without anxiety. So until next time, remember, confidence and cash are the ultimate power duo. Go check in with your money. And as always, have a fantastic and wealthy day.